There you have it. That's over 100 million damage in Cyberpunk 2077. And in today's video, I will be showing you guys how to build your character to do exactly this. This is a rather long, complicated video, so go ahead and subscribe with the bell icon to stay updated, or even add the video to your favorites just to help you find it again. Because let's be honest, we need to flex on our friends and do the maximum amount of damage. That said, this build allows you to run around almost permanently in slow motion, which is a hell of a lot of fun. Please pay very close attention to this video, because if you miss one perk or anything during the video, you'll probably mess up and not be hitting 100 million damage. And thank you so much to the Asian Rex who helped me out with this video. So drop a sweaty like and let's begin. So now I'm going to show you guys how to get the trajectory analysis, which increases headshot bonus damage by an additional 50%. So to get this piece of cyberware, you need to come over here on the map to Watson, specifically to Little China in the south end. And you will find a Ripper dock just here next to the Bradbury and Burn fast travel point. Here's the fast travel point just behind me. Just over here, go under the sign that says poo. And this is where we find Vic's clinic. You just need to come down here and down the stairs. And then Vic's clinic is right in here. So just go ahead and chat to him. And if you go and trade with him at the top here, he will sell you the trajectory analysis, which increases headshot bonus damage by an additional 50%. So go ahead and buy that. It costs 20,000 eddies. Now, once you grab this, just go to your inventory, go to your cyberware, and then just here where your ocular system is, your Kuroshi optics is, you can use the common one. You don't need the epic version, but then you can just go ahead and put this mod inside your eyeball, and then every time you headshot someone, you do an additional 50% bonus damage. And that's going to be how you get your headshot multiplier even higher. So the next thing we need to do is get the qiant Sandevistan MK4 operating system. Now, it's actually possible to almost infinitely slow time with this attachment. Basically, what it does is it increases the damage you do by 15% while time is slowed. And it slows time by 25% for 12 whole seconds. And what's so good about this version of it is that the cooldown can be reduced to 4.5 seconds using the Sandevistan heatsink mods. And I'll show you how to get those in a moment. But first, I'm going to show you how to get two versions of this piece of cyberware. Now, what this mod actually does is every time you press E, for 12 seconds, you're basically in slow motion and you're doing 50% additional damage, and it lasts for absolutely ages, and it makes it really easy to line up headshots and stuff like that. And when it runs out, as you can see, I've only got a 4-second cooldown until I can use it again. As you guys can see, I'm now back in slow motion with 15% extra damage, so it's pretty damn awesome. Let me show you how to do this. Now, to grab this for yourself, you must come over here on the map to Westbrook in Japantown. You want to come over here to Jig Street, which is behind this big tower building, mega building H8. You're going to find a Ripper dock down here. It's like on this blue street just here, where all the clothing shops are. You can see this big ass statue that you pretty much can't miss. Underneath the bridge here, you'll find Jig Street, which is a location you come to in the main storyline anyway. Once you arrive here, you're going to want to run all the way down, all the way over this little bridge here, and carry on going straight on. Basically going to Fingers the Ripper dock. As gnarly as he sounds, this is the location, Fingers MD. Now, to actually get inside his clinic during the quest, there's going to be a queue here. Now, you can open the door before the quest and just come and grab this. However, during the quest, you can just come and open this little grate here, and then you can get inside and come and speak to him.
My Chrome could use some fine.
Go ahead and speak to him, and then you can buy the qiant Sandevistan MK4 from him. What makes this one of the best in the game is the fact that you can reduce the cooldown, so it literally just has a 4-second cooldown, and then you can go straight back into slow motion for the damage increase. However, if you actually punched Fingers during the quest, you will not be able to buy from him anymore. He'll refuse to sell to you. Therefore, you won't be able to get this for yourself. But there is an alternative version that I'll show you how to get now. So to get the other version, which is definitely not really any worse, you have to come to the Ripper dock over here. in Wellsprings, near the city centre. Right in the corner of the map just here, near the fast travel point pumping station. This is the pumping station. Across the road just here, you're going to find the Ripper Dock located inside this little alleyway. He's got a shop here, Dock Rider. Come in here and you will find him inside.
So, as I was saying,
and he's going to sell you the dynalar Sandevistan MK3. Now the only difference is after you use heat sinks to reduce the duration, it's going to have a cooldown of 8 seconds instead of 4.5. However, the slow rate is actually 50%, which is twice as much as the other one. Both of them give you a 15% increase to damage as well, which is the most important thing. So now you've brought a version of this cyberware, you're going to go ahead and find the heatsink mods, which allow you to reduce the cooldown by 3.5 seconds each. Just north of the city stadium, right by the river, you'll find a Ripper Dock just here on the map. This is the man you need to visit because he will sell you the crafting spec. So this is the place he's actually based in, so just go ahead and run on inside and open the door, and then go ahead and trade with him just at the top here. Now you can see he's actually selling the crafting spec for the heatsink mod, and it's only 1,500 euro dollars. So go ahead and buy that off him. Now there's a chance that it won't spawn in his inventory. Don't worry if it doesn't. All you need to do is run outside, then you need to skip time 24 hours. And that will refresh the chance of it appearing in his inventory. So just do that a few times and it will eventually be sold to you. And then if you go ahead and go to your character and go to crafting, then you go to Cyberware, you'll see it just down here. And all you need to do is craft that. Go ahead and craft it a bunch of times. And then if you go to your inventory, you go to Cyberware just here. And then you click on your operating system. You'll see I've crafted a bunch of them. It comes up as common, rare, and epic quality. It doesn't matter that it says it's a common quality crafting recipe. You can still craft up to epic versions of it. So now you just need to go ahead and install that within the cyberware, and that's going to reduce the cooldown by 3.5 seconds. Now since this cyberware has 3 mod slots, you can go ahead and put all 3 in here, and now you have a total cooldown reduction of 10.5 seconds. So now as you can see, if I hover over the Quint Sandevistan MK4, it will slow time by 25% for 12 seconds, and the cooldown is now only 4.5 seconds, meaning this is pretty much up to use whenever you see enemies. And whenever you see any enemies when you're using this gun, since you one-hit kill everyone, everyone's going to be dead within 12 seconds. So 12 seconds is more than enough time to kill everyone. And then 4.5 seconds later, you can use it again. It's absolutely ridiculous. So as for your character build, it is pretty damn straightforward, to be honest with you. We've got 20 attribute points in reflexes, 20 attribute points in technical ability, and then 20 attribute points in cool. I believe you need level 43 to actually do that. And then you can put the rest in either body or intelligence. That's completely up to you. Though having minimal health doesn't actually matter because we're pretty much invincible due to cold blood. So now let's go over our cool perks. Starting out, our stealth, we're going to want assassin because it gives you a flat 15% more damage to human enemies. And that is absolutely insane because pretty much all the enemies in the game are human. Now also, as for just getting loads of perks, if you increase all the skills that are attached to everything in the game, you basically get like +1 perk point every few levels. So you can easily get around 50 to 60 perk points just by leveling and maxing all of your skills. You also get another 50 for leveling up to 50, and then you can find loads of perk shards throughout the game as well. Now as for the Cold Blood skill tree, to actually activate Cold Blood, you need at least 1 point invested in Cold Blood. After defeating an enemy, you gain 1 stack of Cold Blood. Then you need the Critical Condition perk, which increases the duration of Cold Blood by 10 seconds. So now each time you get a kill, Cold Blood will last for 10 seconds. And then the most important perk that you need is Merciless. This is the damage-based perk. While Cold Blood is active, increase crit chance by 10%, and most importantly, crit damage by 25%. That is going to allow you to pretty much one-hit kill everything and do tons of damage because your crit damage is so goddamn high. The other perk you really need is Frozen Precision. Increase headshot damage by another 50%, which is obviously huge. Pretty much all the other perks here are just for armor resistance. Cooligan stacks of cold blood are removed one by one and not all at once is really good as well. Cold and calculating, landing a critical hit has a 25% of applying a stack of cold blood. Increase max stack amount of cold blood by 1. Will to survive, increase all resistances by 5% per stack of cold blood. This basically turns you into an absolute tank along with defensive clothing. Increase armor by 20% per stack of cold blood. Then we also have Pain is an Illusion. While cold blood is active, reduce damage taken by a flat 5%. Unbreakable, increase max stack of cold blood by another 1. Immunity, while cold blood is active, you are immune to bleeding, poison, burn and shock. Basically just turning you into being completely invincible against everything apart from melee. So those are the essential cold blood perks. Most of them just basically make you invincible though. Next we're going to go over technical ability. Now I'll go over crafting again in a moment, but you do want Field Technician, which increases crafted weapons damage by 5%, and also Cutting Edge improves damage of all related stats of crafted weapons by 5% again. And then Edge Runner Artisan allows you to craft legendary weapons, which is obviously very important for this video. Then we have the engineering stat. Once again, this is pretty straightforward. Firstly, we have up to 11, allows you to charge tech weapons up to 100% capacity. Next most important one is Ubercharge. Fully charged tech weapons deal 50% more damage. To make life easier, if you have Gun Whisperer, fully charged tech weapons do not shoot automatically, allows you to aim a lot easier. Load and Load increase smart weapon reload speed by 10%. This will actually increase your damage per second as well because it means you can reload your gun faster and do more DPS. And the way the game calculates that is a bit funny, but I actually think this increases your damage too, so it's worth getting it. Also we have Superconductor. Tech weapons completely ignore armor now. Then we have Screw the Walls, which we don't actually need. Play the Angles, you don't need. Tesla, increase the charge of multiplier for tech weapons by 55%. Lickety Split, tech weapons charge time is reduced by 20%. This just makes shooting and charging weapons easier. And then we have Lightning Bolt, increase crit chance with tech weapons by an additional 10%. Most importantly, Revamp, increase damage from tech weapons by 25% and increase the charge damage as well by 10% on top of that. So pretty damn awesome indeed. Lastly, we have the reflex perks, and we only have handguns here. Now, the most important perks you need for this build are High Noon, increase crit chance with pistols and revolvers by 12%, reduces reload time for pistols and revolvers by 25%, Gunslinger, and this will actually increase your damage per second due to how the game calculates it, so 100% get this, is very important. Rio Bravo, increase headshot damage multiplier with pistols and revolvers by an additional 30%. Then we have Long Shot Drop Pop, increases damage with pistols and revolvers to enemies 5+ meters away by 25%. Grand Finale, the last shot in a pistol or revolver clip deals double damage. This is basically going to be the difference between you doing 50 million damage and 100 million damage. Then we have Desperado, increase damage with pistols and revolvers by another 10%. On the Fly, don't actually need that. From Head to Toe, increases damage to limbs with pistols and revolvers by 15%. Increase crit chance with pistols and revolvers by another 20%. Increase crit chance with pistols and revolvers by 10% if fully modded. So if you have the sight and all the mods on the gun, it will increase the crit chance. And the most important perk in this entire video, Snowball Effect. After defeating an enemy, fire rate for pistols and revolvers increases by 5% for 6 seconds, stacks up to 5 times. I'll explain why this is important later on in the video where I show you the damage technique. Then we have the good and the bad and the ugly. You do not need this perk at all. However, if you do have it, you can increase your 100 million damage by another 30%, which obviously gives you 130 million damage. Basically, after a successful critical hit with a pistol or revolver, your damage and armor then increase by 30% for 5 seconds. So basically, if you have 2 shots left in your pistol and you kill one person and it's a critical hit, and then you kill the other guy with your last shot, you'll trigger this plus 30% damage, plus Grand Finale, and also Attritional Fire. Firing consecutive shots with a pistol or revolver at the same target increases the damage by another 10%. So basically you get plus 40% damage, and then you get double damage on top of that, which means you would be doing 140 million damage. But also, as I'll explain in the end of the video, it's quite hard to actually do, and you can only do it once. So instead, you can actually completely ignore this perk and just do 100 million damage, which is already pretty overkill. That won't make a lot of sense to you guys yet because I haven't fully explained how you do that at the end of the video, but you guys get what I mean. So those are all the perks you need, and we are level 50 right now, as you can see. Now, I just want to say a special note on your character's armor. As you can see, I've got a full legendary armor set. I also have 5,436 armor. You can get much more armor than that, so I'm pretty much invincible to damage. I already made a video on how you can get a full free set of legendary armor linked down below, and I also explained to you how to get over 6,000 armor rating as well. It's very easy to do, but with Cold Blood you can actually get your armor rating over 10,000 as well, making you impervious to damage. Now, I will say as well, as you guys can see, if I look at my mods, I've got two legendary mods here. Bully, which increases my critical chance by 30%, and Fortuna, which increases my crit chance by 15%. As you can see on my sunglasses, I also have that same two mods, but they do not stack. You can only have one on one item of clothing. They don't stack at all, so it's absolutely pointless me having these two mods here, and then these two mods over here as well. Because if I look at my stats, this is the maximum amount of crit damage they actually give me. And just to prove that to you guys, like if I take all of my legendary mods off right now, and then I exit, and I go back to the menu. If I go to my stats, you can see I've got crit damage of 170 and a crit chance of 66. Now if I go ahead and apply all of those legendary mods back onto my character, in theory, I should get a 60% increase to crit damage and a 30% increase to crit chance. But as you guys can see, that is not the case. I only get a 15% and a 30% increase. So they do not stack. So do not fill up your armor with legendary mods. They may patch it in the future, in which case you'll have 20 mod slots to basically fill your armor with and do, you know, I mean, you could probably do like over 300 million damage or something. But currently you can't do that as of this video. So instead, it's just recommended that you fill up all your remaining mod slots with Armadillo mod, which basically just increases your armor. And I explain that in the video linked down below. And also, guys, just so you know, anyone who asked, the deadeye mod and all the other ones don't work. I've tested everything in the game. Or at least they don't work currently as of this video. Now, there are actually 3 ways to obtain the weapon we need for this video, which is the Legendary DV12 Quasar. It's a tech revolver. The best way to obtain it is to actually craft it, and I'll show you how to get the crafting recipe in a moment. But if you're interested, you can actually find it for free as a legendary weapon. You need to come over here on the map, east from Santo Domingo, over here in the Badlands, directly south, just over here where the scrapyard is. You're going to find a gig location called No Fixers just here. Now, if you've already done this gig, you've probably missed grabbing the weapon, but don't worry, it's actually better to craft it anyway. So you can see we're just out the fork in the road over here. Once you arrive, you're going to find this really big scrapyard with some old pylons in it. Just kill the enemies here and then head on inside. We're at this area here, and you're going to see like kind of like this hideout area. So you're going to want to save the game just here. And then we're going to go and check inside here. You'll find a legendary weapon. As you can see, it is legendary quality and it's a tech weapon. Increase charge threshold to 75%. Now, if you don't have the effect you want, and I'll tell you which effects you need later on in the video, you're going to run away from the weapon. Basically just run all the way over to where this turret is here, and then run back around towards the weapon. Like so. And it should change what item it is inside. So as you guys can see, now it says reduce charge time for tech weapons by 1.46%, which is really crap, so we don't want that. So you're just going to go ahead and run around again, and you can essentially then pick what legendary item you pick out of this chest. This is a very desperate way of doing it though. It does allow you to get access to the weapon, I guess, a bit earlier, Now you have increased damage from a charged tech weapon to a maximum of 0.4%. That's also not a very good version. So you can just basically keep running around so you get the best version of the weapon, though I highly recommend just crafting it instead. So you can see now it's actually changed to epic quality. As long as you're over level 34, it will spawn there as legendary, and you can obviously keep running away and back again, and you know, it will spawn as legendary randomly. Now, in order to actually get the crafting recipe for the DR12 Quasar, while you can find it in weapon stores, a much better way to get it is to simply level up your crafting skill to level 18 or above. If you have a look at the skill progression, once you get to level 18 here, it says it unlocks crafting specs for iconic weapons and clothing. So you need to be level 18, and then you also need to get the Edgerunner Artisan, which allows you to craft those legendary items, and that will actually then unlock the crafting recipe for the DR12 Quasar, which, as you're about to find out, is the best way of obtaining it. Now obviously, in order to craft this weapon, you're going to need to go to your technical ability and crafting, and it's required that you have the Edgerunner Artisan perk, which will allow you to craft legendary items. Also, you're going to want to grab the Field Technician, since it makes crafted weapons deal 5% more damage as well. Which is only a couple of digits, but honestly it all adds up, so it gives you a tiny bit more damage than if you had just found the weapon yourself. Now when I was recording this, I forgot to grab the Cutting Edge perk, which improves damage and all damage related stats of crafted weapons by 5%, which means if you guys follow this guide, you'll actually be doing more damage than me, but those are the only perks we need in the crafting skill tree. Then come to your crafting, click on ranged weapons and scroll down until you find the DR12 Quasar. And then you're just going to go ahead and craft this weapon. Now you will notice that each time I craft this, sometimes the DPS in the corner will change. Now, I've actually tested this. That DPS doesn't make any difference. The weapon you craft will always be completely random. So just completely ignore it and just craft as many of these as you can and save the game before you do so. I don't need to worry about this because I've got tons of crafting recipe ingredients. But after you've crafted yourself a bunch of them, you're going to want to go to your inventory, and you can see I've got tons of new Quasar. But you guys will notice that each one of them has a different DPS and different stats and effects attached to them. So we're going to have a closer look through these right now, because there's specific stats that we want to actually get. Now, assuming you followed my build guide and you've got all the correct perks for your character, now you will specifically want to look for the following weapon effects, which are all completely randomized each time you craft it. But this is the ideal weapon that I'm showing you guys out of the 30 we crafted. The DPS does not matter, so ignore that. 156 to 190. It also does 3.53 attacks per second. As for the effects of the gun, it has a 109 to 134 physical damage increase and a 10% chance to do bleed damage. It also has a critical chance of 52%, which we can obviously increase. And it has an increase in 220% critical damage and a charge multiplier of 3. And also a headshot damage multiplier of 5.5. Now, if we actually equip this weapon and then fire a single shot and go back to our inventory, you'll notice that it then applies your perks to the weapon. So as you can see, my crit chance has increased, my crit damage increased, my charge multiplier has gone up to 3.55, and my headshot damage has gone up to 7.48. Now the next thing we're going to want to do is actually mod the pistol. So what we need to do is firstly add a scope. It doesn't matter what scope you use, it can be completely up to you because it doesn't affect the damage. So I'm just going to use this one here. The next thing you want to do is add mods to the weapon. Now you can either go with Crunch, which increases damage by 8, or Pacifier, which increases your crit damage by 12%. Now considering the damage that we're getting out of this weapon is actually going to be based on its attack speed, which I'll explain in a moment, we're actually going to want to stack the Crunch mod onto the weapon because that's where our damage is going to come from, as opposed to the increased crit damage by 12%. Or at least in testing, I found the Crunch mod is much more effective. But to actually get the Crunch mod or the Pacifier mod for yourself, it works exactly the same way. The first method is just to go to any weapon store in Night City. So where these gun weapon shops are, just go to any one of these locations and you can just buy the crunch mod. Now, if they're not selling the crunch mod, all you need to do is leave the store, wait 24 hours, and the shopkeeper's inventory will then be refreshed and you can go in and they'll sell some new stuff to you. So just do that repeatedly until they sell you the crunch mod. Alternatively, you can also buy a crunch crafting recipe. Crafting Spec Crunch allows you to craft a weapon mod. So if you go ahead and buy this, you'll then get the ability to craft the crunch mod. Okay, so now we can go ahead and craft this mod. So you need to come to crafting and then go to attachments and mods. And then you need to go ahead and find the crunch crafting recipe, which we already found here. Now, as you can see, I have the True Craftsman perk, which allows you to craft rare items, and also the Grease Monkey perk, which allows you to craft epic items. You cannot craft legendary weapon mods at the moment. I don't know if that's a bug or if they're going to add that later, but currently it doesn't work. So now what you're going to do is you're just going to craft a bunch of crunch weapon mods. And each time you craft one of these, there's like a random chance that it will be a common version, a rare version, or an epic version. You must be level 30 plus to actually have a chance of crafting the epic version of the crunch mod though. Otherwise, you'll get rare at, I think, 20 plus. And you can also craft or buy the pacifier mod in the exact same way I just showed you guys. So you're going to go ahead and craft a bunch of crunch mods and then attach them to the weapon. So as you can see, we now have a base damage between 191 and 233 damage, and we're doing 2126.3 DPS. And now I'm going to show you guys how to increase that even further. Because in the Handguns skill tree, you'll see earlier I spoke to you about the snowball effect. After defeating an enemy, fire rate for pistols and revolvers increases by 5% for 6 seconds, stacks up to 5 times. So essentially, after you kill someone, you get a 1% increase to your fire rate. And it says it only stacks 5 times. However, there is actually a way to fool the game into stacking it permanently on one gun. And I'll be showing you how to do that right now. So as you guys can see, I've got the DV12 Quasar as my primary weapon, which we fully modded at this point. And then I've got 2 secondary weapons. It doesn't matter what these secondary weapons are. They don't need to be legendary. They can be absolute crap weapons. The only thing I recommend is that you use weapons that take a little bit of time to reload. But not like a light machine gun, because that takes too long to reload. So just use any other weapons in these 2 slots. And then obviously the Quasar pistol. So as you can see, I've got my primary weapon just here, and then I've got my other 2 weapons like this. Now what you want to do is you want to empty all of the ammo on the other weapons, but not reload them. So empty every piece of ammo from the clip like I'm doing in the video. And then you should just have obviously the ammo in your primary weapon. So when I swap to the other weapon, the game will start reloading these weapons, but you don't want to ever let it actually reload them. Just keep them empty of ammo. And that is basically like a rotation. You want the ammo in your primary weapon, but not in your secondary weapons. And again, it doesn't matter what your secondary weapons are, it still works. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and kill these enemies. As you can see, I can one-hit kill all of them anyway. So just go ahead and kill them all. And then immediately swap your weapons, but don't reload them. And then when you get back to your primary weapon, just reload that one. So now if I go to my inventory, you guys can see I've actually increased the damage per second of my weapon. It's gone up to 2609.6 DPS. My base damage is still 191 to 233 damage, so it's not changed at all. But my attacks per second has gone up to 4.34. So that's essentially what we're going to carry on doing. I'll show you guys how to do it again. We're going to keep stacking the percentage increase to our attack speed on one weapon. So I go ahead and kill these guys over here like so. And then I swap, do a rotation, don't reload these weapons, and then I reload my primary weapon instead. And if I go back to my inventory, my DPS has increased again and my attack speed has increased again. So we're going to just carry on doing this. It's really, really easy. Just go around killing everyone that you already kill in one hit pretty much anyway. As long as you headshot them. and then go ahead and do the rotation again and reload your primary weapon. And as you can see, my DPS has gone up to 4,118. You can stack this up to 5 times. So if I go kill 1 person, 2 person, 3 person, 4 person, and 5 person, I'm going to do the rotation, and I'm going to get an increase once after I reload my primary weapon by 5% to my attack speed. So now it's gone up to 7.6 attacks per second, and I do 4,572 DPS. And again, if I just kill 1 person and do the rotation again, then I'll get a 1% increase to my attack speed. Like so. As you can see, it's gone up again. So obviously you just want to carry on running around, stacking your attack speed stat. Where are these guys? Here they are. And you can see, like, I'm now doing 32k damage with those headshots. And it's going to carry on increasing each time I do this rotation. I'm now doing 6,293 damage, and I'm doing 10 attacks per second, basically. So, carry on going. And if you want, guys, I obviously showed you how to use the slow time thing. If anyone's struggling, you can use the slow time effect just to shoot people and reload your weapons. But you don't need to do that. But as you can see, it works in the exact same way. I'm now doing 17,476 DPS because obviously as you increase your attack speed, you keep increasing it by like a percentage-based amount. So the higher it gets, the faster it will increase because the higher the number, the higher the percentage increase, if that makes sense. So after we've got to 17,000 damage, you're going to just kill 2 people like so, and then do the rotation again. And we're going to go ahead and check our damage after doing that. And you can see now it's at 11,888 DPS, which is really nice. So let's just carry on killing people. Can't even see any enemies. There's one. Kill this guy. Let's just do the rotation now since he died. Reload this again. Let's kill this guy as well. And then do the rotation again. Reload the pistol. And then we'll check again how much our DPS is. We're now at 18,447 DPS, which is really nice. And by the way, guys, just so you know, like, if I go ahead... Oh, I'm in combat right now. If I go ahead and skip time, like, let's just say 3 hours, my weapon still does the same amount of damage, as you can see. And also, if you want to go ahead and like fast travel anywhere on the map, your weapon's still going to do the same amount of damage. It's like a permanent thing. Nothing's going to change how much damage your weapon actually does. So you're just going to carry on killing people and stacking up that damage. The only thing that will reset your damage is if you reload another save. You can save the game as normal, it won't do anything, but if you reload another save, then it will like remove the damage buff and you'll have to restack it. So, okay, let's go and kill this guy over here. Like so. Hello, sir. Come at me, brother. Kill him, then we'll do the rotation again. Should get a 2% increase, obviously. So if I have a look at my inventory, I'm now doing 41,000 damage. Getting like 70 attack per second. Do it again. You can see my damage and attack speed is like obviously increasing. So as you can see, we now have 106,996 DPS. And we still do that 191 to 233 base damage. And we have 177.78 attacks per second. Now, 177.78 attacks per second is the absolute cap you can actually reach in attacks per second in the entire game. You cannot go any higher than that, otherwise you go into negative numbers. So at this point, you're going to want to stop rotating your weapons and unleash mega damage. To do that, we're going to make use of the grand finale perk as well. The last round in a pistol or revolver clip deals double damage. And then obviously we've got the charge perk and the up to 11 perk, which allows us to charge our tech weapons to deal more damage. So we're going to go ahead and charge this weapon as well to get even more damage from it. So let's go ahead and get down to 1 shot. And as you guys can see, our attack speed is ridiculous. Then we're going to go ahead and charge the weapon and shoot this guy in the face. And that's like 32 mil. There we go. Earlier on I mentioned, okay, I've put loads of crunch mods on this, but if I actually go ahead and put a pacifier mod on it, which increases my crit damage by 12%, boom! Look at that! 100 million damage! God damn! And then obviously my weapon should... Yeah, now it's back at 100,000. So let's go ahead and slow time again and get ready to get yeet. Oh, she's trying to dodge me. Trying to dodge me in slow-mo. Get wrecked, son. We weren't even on our last shot. That's why we didn't do omega damage. But as you can see, it goes down into minus... We're doing minus 214,000 damage. So you just got to wait. Your screen will kind of actually like sort of flash as well. Like, you see that little flash there that I made? Now it's back at 105. So let's go ahead and yeet this guy in the head. You ready to get yeeted, son? Boom. Get yeeted! Battle, brother. Drop a like on the video and maybe even subscribe. Dun 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 dun. Boop. Oh, yes. Beautiful. Oof. God damn, son. So now, just so you guys understand, if you go ahead and like slow time and then you charge up a shot at like this person, for example, and then you shoot them in the head like this, do over 100,000, 100 million damage, and then you charge up another shot, and then you shoot this guy in the head, you actually do 0 damage because you're in the minus currently. Now, even though I'm in the minus that, I can still kill people. I just need to like shoot them normally, like without charging up shots. I still kill them in like one hit, it's fine. So don't worry about being in the minus, you can still kill people. You just have to wait for your gun to like go back down to 100,000 damage. The other important thing you need to know is that once you are at 177.78 attacks per second, you don't want to do the rotation again. Otherwise, you'll be permanently stuck at minus damage. Wow. This really did turn into a ridiculously long video, and I'm sorry about that. I just wanted to include how to do everything in one video so you could replicate it yourself. Please do drop a like if you did find this video helpful, since it took so long to make, and if you also subscribe with the bell, you'll stay up to date with all the RPG Cyberpunk 2077 guides that I have coming out for you guys very shortly. So thank you so much for watching, guys, and I hope you enjoy this and have a lot of fun confusing your friends about how you got 100 million or more damage. Have a lovely day and goodbye.